So this is new to me. I don't really have a format for it, so excuse the stream-esque look here. I just threw up my OBS and hit record with my normal stream scene with my VTuber on it. Next time I'll have a better format for this kind of thing, but I did want to talk about this. Now, I feel like my opinion doesn't mean any more than anyone else's, but as someone with almost 11,000 hours in the game, as you can see, 10,906 hours, I'm rapidly approaching the really boiling point of self-hatred to have played this much of the game, but I digress. I feel like maybe some people might want to hear about my opinion. Maybe they don't. Maybe no one cares. Whatever. A lot of people are posting their opinions, so why not? But Behavior released their November 2023 dev update today, the developer update, and it's got some interesting changes. And I have to say, when I woke up and I saw this at like 10 o'clock this morning, I thought, I'm actually pleasantly surprised, which is not something you hear me say about Behavior very often. So let's look at it here. The end of the year is almost upon us, but we've still got some news to share. And this developer update will cover some of the new features and balance changes making their way to the game in our next update, including a new customization option, a sizable update to an existing killer, and gameplay passes for 2 realms. Okay, cool. Player cards, we don't need to talk about much. It's literally just in-game player profiles, and you can get these things in the Rift and whatnot. You know, the Rift, codes, whatever. My main problem with this, and I think other people have mentioned this, is just gives them more opportunity to not give us stuff that we really want in the Rift. And so it's a double-edged sword. While it's cool to have profiles and a profile page, I guess, profile screen rather, it's, you know, that's the double-edged sword, is that it's more padding, I guess, for the Rift. So there you go. And it just gives them an opportunity not to give us free stuff, which, you know, Behavior has they've been pretty critical about giving us as little free stuff as possible. If you look at the whole FOMO thing and then doing the whole Halloween thing where literally everything is timed exclusive, just be honest with us. Tell us you don't want to give us free shit. So there's that. Now the real meat and potatoes of this is let's start with the Trickster. Okay, the Trickster, let's just read it out here. When he's not working on his next album, he's following his other passion, throwing a boatload of knives at survivors. Okay. In this update, we're aiming to address points of frustration for both sides. For killers, many feel like Trickster doesn't quite stack up to the other ranged options. You are right. For survivors, dodging blades could feel inconsequential since so few would injure you. You are also right. I hate versing Trickster. I hate versing pretty much every ranged killer. I think it's, you know, this is going to be controversial. I think ranged killers are not good for this game, especially with dedicated servers. But I digress. Whatever the case, we'll be making a series of balance and quality of life changes to our resident rapid fire ranged killer. Okay, cool. So rapid fire. The Trickster's fast-paced attacks are what set him apart from other ranged killers. So we wanted to focus on this rapid fire machine gun gameplay for the update. We asked ourselves, what's better than throwing a bunch of knives? The answer is throwing even more knives. Hey, I like where they're going with this. The Trickster throws 4 blades per second now, and this was up from 3 blades per second, so that's cool. And that's by default, and his throw rate no longer increases with each blade thrown. Okay. So there's a gain and a negative there. That's how typically these things are done. To keep this feeling fair for survivors, we've also increased the laceration meter to 8 hits. It was 6, as well as decreased the time before it decays to 10 seconds from 15. This means that the laceration meter will fill at the same rate as before, but unsuccessfully dodging blades will also be a little more rewarding. Successfully dodging blades will be a little more rewarding. Words are hard and it's been a long day. That's a good change. I like that change. It's a very good change. Lastly, recoil when rapidly throwing blades can be tricky to deal with, particularly for those with playing on a controller. That is very true. Therefore, we have removed recoil entirely. I know of a few Trickster mains that are not going to be happy about this, just from the standpoint of, okay, it's no longer skillful. You know what I mean? But there is like I said, there's a double-edged sword to everything, and the double-edged sword is, with the recoil, it is a pain in the ass on controller. I've never done it, but I could only imagine. Okay. But I digress. This will make your blades easier to control, making them more skill dependent. The downside, you won't be able to blame the recoil for that blade that you missed. Yes, of course. Of course. So, fast paced. To complement his quicker throws, and this is huge, okay? We have also reviewed the Trickster's movement speed. The Trickster now moves at 4.6 by default. So he was 4.4, he was 110, now he's 115. That's huge. And this puts him on par with other fast killers. And as a result, the Trickster's tear radius has been increased to 32 millimeters, was 24 meters. So I wonder if this, I have to wonder if this actually, I have to wonder if it increases his whole tear radius, if the lullaby will still start outside his tear radius. Maybe that was a bug before. I haven't gone against a Trickster in a long time, so it's been a hot minute. Maybe this will fix that. But that's a huge change. This will not only help him close the gap during a chase, but also spend less time traversing the map looking for his next target. Absolutely. Combined, these changes will leave Trickster feeling much more agile and fast-paced. I agree. Main event. Okay. Main event allows you to throw even more blades even faster. However, this required you to hit quite a few blades to activate first. True. True. Very true. Taking several chases to charge up. This made it, feel fairly rare for the killer. Also made it a little frustrating if you happen to be the unlucky survivor to be caught when you finally activated. And as a result, we're making the following changes. Main event now requires 6 blades to charge. Okay, cool. It was 30. Now that sounds ridiculous, and it probably is ridiculous, it's behavior, but main event's duration has been reduced to 5 seconds. It was 10 seconds. So this is kind of scary because there is, on paper, this sounds broken, but we should let it, as Farmer John would say, let it cook. Let's see how it goes. Let's not knee-jerk react to anything. If it releases this way, give it a couple of months, I'd say give it till the next major patch, please. We waited that long for MFT, and we'll get to that. These changes will make main event available much more often, but require the killer to use it strategically to take advantage of it. And I agree. The thing about main event before was it came up, and it was there. And if you didn't use it, if you couldn't get a chance to use it, it was just gone. So a lot of the times it just didn't even exist. A lot of the times I wouldn't even bother to use it, or just didn't get a chance to use it. So I'll definitely try out Trickster a little more because he is kind of frustrating to play right now, especially with hitboxes on some loops just being ridiculous these days. So forgiving. In any case, the add-ons. Lastly, we don't really need to look at these add-ons. The add-ons aren't the big meat and potatoes of this from what I can see. All these are just here to, actually, let's look at them anyway. Memento blades. The new effect is they decrease time between blade throws by 5%. Okay. That's probably going to be a very popular add-on. Inferno wires increases duration of main event by 40%. That might also be popular, actually. Holy moly. Jiwoon's autograph. The new effect is, I don't know if I'm pronouncing Jiwoon right. Jiwoon? Man, I never say this stuff out loud. New effect is it decreases the number of blades required to charge main event by 1. Okay. I feel like that's so inconsequential because main event is 6 blades that the first one or the second add-on here in the Inferno wires will be more used. Tequila Moonrock. God, these names. Increases duration of main event by 60%. That's also going to be very popular. Fizz Spin Soda. The new effect is it decreases the number of blades required to reach main event by 2. That might be a little more popular. Waiting for You Watch. Increases the duration of main event by 0.25 seconds for each blade hit while it is active. That's kind of neat. That's kind of neat. That's a nerf, but that's kind of neat. But that's right in line with where it should be. Iridescent Photo Card. The new effect is for each consecutive blade hit, gain a stackable 1% haste effect up to 7% maximum. This bonus is lost when missing a blade or putting a survivor into the dying state. Okay. So that makes his chase game around certain loops a lot more, like for example, those rock loops at Ormond. Every time I run a Trickster there and he's trying to use his power, I just run around the same rock without a pallet constantly. I call it the Dwayne Johnson tech. Those of you who know will know. Anyways, that's the changes to the Trickster. On paper, it looks like it could be absolutely busted. But again, we need to let it cook. Okay, let it cook. Give it some time, some serious time before we make a decision. Okay, because there's still people that say Alien's tail cannot be dodged. I dodge it all the time. I see survivors dodge it all the time. Okay, it's give it some time to cook. Learn to play against it. And if it really is that bad, I am all for dialing it back. Okay. So here we go. Here we go. We are here with Made for This. I have been begging for this for a long time. Even a small speed boost can make a big difference in the right hands. Not just even in the right hands. Okay, a small speed boost. This game is so based heavily on movement speed. Even a small speed boost can make a difference in any hands. But it can make some survivors very difficult to catch, and that is true. Especially for your normal M1 killers. Or the current Trickster, for example. Since Made for This would activate as soon as a survivor became injured, the perk would often be unavoidable. No. Not often. It was unavoidable. It was unavoidable. And if you, well, let me use post-production magic. I'll edit it in here. A screenshot of nightlight.gg where it shows how often Made for This is used right now. And that it's like the second most used perk. There you go. Anyways, to make this fairer and create opportunities for killers to play around it, thank you, we have added an additional condition to the haste effect. After healing another survivor, gain the endurance status effect for 6, 8, or 10 seconds, depending on the level, but that's unchanged. While you were affected by deep wounds, you won 3% faster. And since this is much more situational, the effect applies while exhausted as well. I'm okay with this. And there are some very strong situational uses to this, but it's also able to be played around by the killer, which I really, really like. It's strong, but there is counterplay. Beautiful. Beautiful. And also scary in the right hands, but there is counterplay, so there's not really any reason to complain about it. With this change, the killer can potentially prevent Made for This speed boost from, activating entirely, by avoiding inflicting deep wounds on that survivor. Yes, absolutely. It's also going to be very strong with Dead Hard. But Dead Hard also has a counter, so I don't really have an issue. This also ties both Made for This effects together, granting a way to gain deep wounds in order to make use of the haste effect. I agree 100%. That's a great change. On paper, that is a great change. I think in practice, it'll be a great change. I think you're going to see the usage of Made for This go down a good amount. I still think people will use it, though. Made for This Buckle Up is still going to be very strong. Made for This Buckle Up for the people is going to be very strong. Very strong. In any case, let's move on. So they're rebalancing some maps. Garden of Joy, thank God. Garden of Main, Garden of Pain, Garden of Dicks. Okay, I'm about done with this map, and I swear to God, every time I start stream, it's either Garden of Joy or Eerie Crows, and I'm tired of it. All right. So joy for some, at least. Yeah, survivors. It's not even, Garden of Joy is not even good for the Dredge, and that's Dredge's map. Think about that. There's like barely any lockers in most of the map. Whatever. Joy for some, at least. We have gathered and reviewed feedback for the Garden of Joy map, and in this update, we'll be making a series of changes to improve gameplay. First, we turned our attention to the windows of the large house. Thank you! Oh my God. Previously, there were several strong windows which granted survivors plenty of distance each time they were vaulted. Absolutely. Busted, making some chases drag on. We have reviewed the layouts of these windows and breakable walls to make chases in this building fairer. And you know what? That's good. That's fantastic. And the thing is, I would end up camping and tunneling a lot on this map. I tunnel a good amount anyway because I play for the dub, but more so on this map. And the reason for that is I'll hook someone and I'll go to chase someone. The problem is that person will run to main building. And yeah, I could go chase someone else. That person also runs to the main building. I don't want to chase in the main building. And you're giving me no reason to go anywhere but back to hook if you just keep running to the main building. If it wasn't so painful to chase there, I would be more than happy to chase there. That's all I'm saying. Anyways. Second, we have rebalanced several pallet loops to bring them closer to the sweet spot where they are both useful to survivors and have the potential for killers to play around them. Every loop should be like that. We have also cleaned up certain loops and removed small objects which players might bump into by mistake. Thank you! Lastly, we've made a few changes throughout the map to improve both improve quality of objects, which block your path, and introduce small pieces of lore throughout the environment. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. So Red Forest. let's take a look at Red Forest. So the Red Forest is home to both Mother's Dwelling and Temple of Purgation. I believe Mother's Dwelling is Huntress's map. I'm not a Huntress person, as many of you know. We have similarly reviewed feedback for both maps and are making a series of changes to improve the gameplay on them as well. First and foremost, the size. Oh my God. These two maps are some of the largest in the game. Yes, they are. And this can cause some gameplay issues, costing the killer, especially if you're just an M1 killer, a lot of time to cross from one end to the other in search of survivors. And that's true. Even if I remember watching a Deathslinger cross the map once, and before he could get from one end to the other, there was a gen done. That's a problem. So if they're gonna, yeah, they're reducing the size of both maps to bring them more in line with the rest of the realms. Thank you, Behavior. It only took you like 7 years. Thank you so much. I'm sorry, guys. It's hard to be positive when these have been glaring problems for over half a decade. And I have a theory about this whole patch after, but we'll get to that. And maybe it's just me being cynical. Second, we reviewed various pallet loops and reduced the amount of vegetation surrounding them. Thank you, making it easier to identify loops at a glance. Oh my God, are you telling me? Sorry, are you telling me I'm not gonna bump into random shit anymore when I'm playing Survivor or Killer? Really? There's not just gonna be random things out of my line of sight there that I'm hitting that's causing me to bump into stuff? Like, come on. Thank you. It's about time. With that, we've reached the end of the developer update. Everything mentioned in this post will be available to try in the public test build, planning to start November 8th, with the update going live on all platforms in the weeks following. We look forward to hearing what you think. Until next time, the Dead by Daylight team. So here's my theory, right? And this may just be me being cynical, but Survivor queue times, and I've been playing a lot of solo queue lately, and when solo queue times are long, you know it's a problem. My solo queue times on peak hours have reached 10 minutes at times. I think Survivor queue times are very long, and this update is almost entirely for killers. I think this is like, you know, this, I posted on Twitter, man, this could be easily paraphrased. This whole page could be easily paraphrased by saying, so here's the thing, Survivor queues are getting kind of long. Could some of you guys come play the game, please? Could some people just play killer, please, pretty please? Here, we're doing all this stuff for you. And that's really the thing. It's like, it's not so much a matter of killers whining, although a lot of them do. I do sometimes. But these are things that are genuinely problems, except for the Trickster thing. The Trickster deed needs some changes, some quality of life stuff, but in terms of actual problems, I think the things that, like the maps and made for this, I think those were actual problems and they addressed them well. Well, we'll see, because I'm looking at the Mother's Dwelling notes here, and I see nothing about the God window in main building, which I don't know why that's even still in the game. I don't know why that's still in the game. These are the kind of things that prevent bloodlust from being removed, and I would love the game to be in a place where bloodlust could be removed. Anyways, that's all I got. That's all. It's, you know, it really is a decent update overall. I look forward to trying out the PTB. For those that don't know, I stream Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Sunday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We play Killer mostly. Killer is just what I do on stream because there's more of an audience for it, and murder and stuff. But I stream on twitch.tv/PallyLive. I'll put a link in the description below. You can follow me on Twitter. I'll put a link to that in the description below as well. But thank you guys for checking out this video. Thank you so much for watching. And I hope my thoughts didn't piss too many of you off, because I know they tend to sometimes. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the fog on Sunday night. Later.